Hi, I'm Rachel. Well, Christmas is over. I'm back to work a day later. At least I get to see my cat when I'm not at work, although I had a great time with my family in Baltimore. And speaking of which, I now have books to show you for my December 2018 book haul. Of course, most of them were holiday gifts, but like all good booktubers, I start with buying a holiday gift for myself. And the one I have for myself is this one. This is Dread Not But Time. My friend Claudia has a short story published in this speculative fiction collection. This is her second published work in an anthology that's come out this year. I also have a collection of essays where her essay was published. I'm very excited for this one. Actually, another friend designed the cover. Isn't it so cool? I will read from the back. There are so many ways to measure time, and even more for time to take our measure. And in Dread Not But Time, this collection of short stories covers most of them. From a lost soldier who measures time in bullets, to a couple whose escape to paradise devolves pretty quickly into Paradise Lost, to time not only failing to heal a broken heart, but re-breaking it in an unimaginable way. You will read each story waiting for time to drop the other shoe, waiting for time to get the drop on the characters, waiting for time to demand its due. So yeah, usually I don't read scary fiction. I don't like horror so much, and this might even tell you why, because this is maybe the scariest thing of all. What time can do to us. Like Captain Hook always running away from that ticking clock in the crocodile. These next books I got from my mother. I sent her a list of a variety of literary fiction I thought she'd be interested in getting for me and reading herself. So the first thing she got for me was a collection of short stories. This is The Thing Around Your Neck by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I read Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's novel Americana a couple of years ago, and I liked it, and it made me intrigued to read the rest of her backlist. And I particularly have a thing for short stories. I write short stories, and I'm always embarrassed by how I don't tend to remember a whole lot of them when I read them, and I have been keeping collections of short stories. Even when I get rid of novels, I tend to hold on to collections and see if maybe in the future I will continue to go back to them. So I'm excited to have this one. I intend to make an author backlist reading video. I was intending to do Emily St. John Mandel this year, but maybe now I'll do Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, or maybe I'll even do both of them. And the next one my mother got me is very famous here on BookTube and in the wider literary community. This is Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeleine Tien. I've just been very intrigued about it ever since I first heard about it, probably on BookTube. This book that takes place during a lot of China's recent history, I believe. I am looking forward to getting to it. It's also on my Goodreads TBR. So. My mother rolls her eyes at my tastes in religious reading, but my sister very dutifully goes to Amazon probably and just orders the books for me. So I have a couple from her and my brother-in-law, starting with this one. This is Unusual Bible Interpretations, Ruth, Esther, and Judith by Israel Drazen. And I will read from the flap. By examining the books of Ruth, Esther, and Judith with references to traditional and scholarly sources, Dr. Israel Drazen interprets the biblical text in ways that many readers will consider unusual. His objective analysis confronts challenging questions and presents logical explanations to issues that have perplexed readers of the Bible for centuries. The books of Ruth and Esther are biblical, while Judith was excluded from the biblical canon. Yet close readings of these three books reveal that it is the character Judith, as opposed to Esther or Ruth, who most deserves the accolade of Jewish heroine. I certainly remember Judith as the most action-oriented, which I don't necessarily always think means most deserving of the title, but badass heroines are very in. But I'm just really interested in exploring women of the Bible, how few there are from a Jewish lens. And this next book is Pirkei Imachot, which is a play on a rabbinic text, Pirkei Avot, the wisdom of the fathers, and this one would be the wisdom of the mothers. The voices of women, which is, I think, edited by Rabbi Eve Posen and Lois Sussman Schenker, with a foreword by Ruth Messenger. And I will read from the back. Pirkei Imahot is first and foremost a book about giving Jewish women a voice within our Jewish tradition. Through that voice, the reader is given an opportunity to gain new inspiration, motivation, and the clarity of purpose needed to move forward and make change in a world much in need of it. Just as Pirkei Avot, the rabbinic commentary written by rabbis in the 2nd century CE, provided an ethical roadmap for the community of its day, Pirkei Imahot provides an ethical roadmap written by and for contemporary women today. Through the author's own unique experiences as women, mothers, leaders, rabbis, and teachers in their community, and those of the many women who contributed their own words of wisdom to this book, the reader will gain wisdom on how to live morally within her community, how to participate in Tikkun Olam, which they have translated to mean the repair of the world, and how to strengthen her leadership roles to make a difference. The probing questions found throughout the book provide a further opportunity through introspection and self-examination, for the reader to learn the lessons found within the covers of this thought-provoking book. Got a little bit dramatic there at the end, but anyway, I keep on finding these books, of course, on the Jewish sites I visit, and I think, well, at least I could read them around high holidays or something, when particularly drawn, I suppose, to religious interpretation books, but I'm getting so many of them now that I, again, might have to read more of them in the year than I anticipated, especially since this year I intend to spend a bit of time dedicated to the project of read your own damn books, rather than constantly going to the library or buying new ones. We'll see how it goes. So that about covers it for me now. Well, at the beginning of 2018, I was debating stopping book hauls because I was nervous about how much I was acquiring, and I wanted to find a way to make myself acquire fewer books. But I love this whole format so much that I couldn't bring myself to get away from this whole monthly book haul thing. So I told myself, I tried to justify to myself that I could just do library hauls all year, or I knew I'd acquire at least some books, so I said you could do library books in lieu of or in addition to as needed, so that you don't have to buy books every month. But that didn't necessarily turn out as planned. I didn't have any numerical goals, quantitative goals in mind when I set this out last year or early this year. But it turned out that every month I acquired at least one book. I'm looking at my notes now, in February it really was only one book that I purchased. And a lot of the books, I should say, I acquired for free through various means, but in total, including these books I just hauled, I hauled 52 books, and I only ended up showing 19 library books on this channel. That being said, I actually acquired more library books than I did show. But in terms of using these hauls to slow down the book acquiring, I'm not sure if it really worked, because there were plenty of months where I didn't even show any library books at all, because what was the point? I acquired enough books to talk about through various means for my shelves. So I'm not sure what this says about 2019. I don't necessarily have any quantitative goals about how many books I want to acquire, but I still am hoping to keep it low, and I still will encourage myself to haul library books as needed. At least I could try this again like I did last year, but I guess I really am assuming or hoping that this whole Read Your Own Damn Books initiative will really be what puts me over the edge, that at the very least I can start digging a hole through this pile I've made for myself. I'll have more reading and writing resolutions coming up on BookTube and on my blog. I hope you're doing really well and liking what you see when you look back and thinking of good things moving forward. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.